Hello everyone, this is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming, and today we are going to be looking at Power Shot. We will go over both of its fire modes, look at some of the lesser known aspects of this ability, and then we will tell you how you can use these secrets to make the most of Legion's very powerful ordnance weapon. As usual, we shall cover the basics first. Let's start with the long range Power Shot configuration. Now this is essentially an improved version of Northstar's railgun. It deals a roughly analogous damage number of 2000, and this has no range drop off, so no matter how far you are from the enemy, landing a hit will deal 2000 damage. If you crit, the 1.5 multiplier kicks in, and you will deal a total of 3000 damage, which I probably don't need to say is massive. Naturally, the shot has enough damage to insta-kill pilots on contact. So in this long range configuration, the projectile is actually, well, a projectile, which means it has travel time. Luckily, the shot travels very swiftly. In fact, it travels at the exact same speed as a railgun shot from Northstar. In addition to this, the shot has no maximum range at which it can register a critical hit. Well, at least from what we tested, which was up to 200 meters. Shooting the Power Shot at long range only consumes one bullet from the Predator cannon's magazine. Now this is ironically less than the normal long range shot, which would consume 2 bullets. This makes the Power Shot incredibly efficient as far as damage goes. Now for the basics of the short range mode. This is an area of effect shotgun blast, which consumes 1 bullet from the magazine, even though it shoots 16 individual projectiles. Although projectiles probably is the wrong term to use, because this variant is actually a hit scan weapon, which means the shot will instantly connect with targets with no travel time at all. Something that is a bit odd about this Power Shot variant is that it doesn't actually matter how many shots from that blast land on your target. If an enemy is in your crosshairs, they will take the full damage. And this is 2000 damage for Titans, exactly the same as the long range Power Shot. It also has a knockback effect that will force the enemy Titans back 5 full meters when they're hit with the blast. Again, this is more than enough damage to instantly kill pilots if they are in your crosshairs. You can actually land a critical hit with the short range Power Shot as well. You just have to center the crosshairs over the crit spot of the enemy Titan. Now this will only be able to occur out to a range of 30 meters, beyond which the critical hits of this fire mode are simply not possible. In fact, after 31 meters, the damage of the close range Power Shot begins to tail off a bit, and by 40 meters you will deal no damage whatsoever with this ability. So before we move on, there are also a few general facts about both Power Shot variants. They both have a cooldown of 8 seconds, which means you can and should use Power Shot fairly regularly. Often you can use it both at the start and the end of a Predator shot clip. It also has a short readying period as the gun spins up, and this will telegraph to your opponent that a Power Shot is incoming, so be aware that by the time it fires, they likely know what's coming their way already. Now you can take the hidden compartment kit to make the Power Shot carry 2 charges. Now it still takes 8 seconds to recharge a single use of this ability, so if you are constantly using Power Shot, this might not help much. But it will also decrease the damage by 15%, so you will only do 1700 damage instead of 2000. Of course, the advantage of this kit is that if you save up 2 Power Shots and then unload them into a target and you crit twice, you can deal up to 5100 damage in less than 2 seconds. Now this will really help you win a fight. I don't think any other Titan is capable of that level of burst damage. So what are some of the tricks and secrets that will help you use the Power Shot to bypass defensive abilities, clean up sneaky pilots, and land shots that by all means should be impossible? Well, firstly, the long range Power Shot has quite a decent blast radius. Unlike the Northstar railgun, this shot will deal almost full damage, usually around 1800 Titan damage against all enemies up to 3 meters away from where it lands. The blast size of this radius is about analogous to the softball's explosion radius. However, of course, it deals a lot more damage. Now this is enough to kill any infantry inside the radius instantly. However, at the extreme edges, the periphery of that radius, it may only slightly damage pilots or grunts. Generally speaking, it goes from 0 to 100 real quick as soon as they get closer into that shot's epicenter. So how can you take advantage of this? Well, the first and most obvious application is that it makes it much easier to snipe pilots who are wall running, on the ground, or hiding inside buildings. This actually makes the long range Power Shot one of Legion's best tools for killing pilots, and certainly the best at long range, because often it can be difficult to aim that Predator cannon to land enough shots on the small, far away and moving silhouette of a good pilot. You can even drop this shot through a doorway or a window and catch pilots who don't even have line of sight to you, and this comes in useful more often than you might think. The second application is to stack damage on Titans. If two enemy Titans are close together, then you can potentially hit one and splash damage into the other for almost full damage again. This is excellent in teamfights, for controlling corridors, or in frontier defense. Oh, and speaking of frontier defense, with a high enough Aegis rank, your shots will actually penetrate through enemies and deal more damage as they do so, and with this ability, each time it penetrates an enemy, it generates an additional explosion centered upon where it hit that target. So using the ability to deal mass damage to clustered enemies in a lane makes Legion one of my top tier frontier defense Titans by far. You can also use your knowledge of the splash radius to bypass some defensive abilities. We'll go into that now. Let's have a look at Vortex Shield. Now this projects a cone in which it will catch all of your projectiles. Depending on where this ion is aiming at, you should be able to sneak the power shot through and hit either terrain near their feet or beside them to deal massive splash damage through that shield. Now this is very hard to pull off, because the size of the Vortex Shield means that it is hard to get past. The good news is that if they catch your shot, it counts as a normal Predator cannon bullet, and only one of them, so you won't lose much health when they toss it back at you. Now as for Scorch, it does seem to be significantly easier to fire the power shot near his feet, under his flame shield, or into terrain by his side. This is probably because of his increased hitbox size, but you can certainly hit him a lot of the time with that splash damage, even when he has that flame shield raised. Tone is a bit harder, but if she is too close to the edge of her particle wall, you can certainly deal splash damage around it, although it may not be worth it, just considering how much damage Tone can do to you while you remain exposed. As for Ronin, the sword block cannot be tricked. The only way is to pre-fire the power shot so the Ronin cannot see the charge animation, and therefore cannot get their block up in time to stop the damage. Now when you're facing off against other legions, you can very easily hit their feet and deal full damage. And even if you miss just slightly, you'll still deal almost full damage off the splash effect when they've got that gun shield raised. So what about the close range mode? Well, remember that you only have to hit a single part of an enemy Titan in order to deal full damage. So abuse this. You can usually damage Legion and Scorch right through their shields, as long as you're not super close. But it is Ion that you have to be really careful of. Although you may get some damage through, the Vortex Shield will easily catch a large number of the power shot projectiles in CQC mode. This means that the Ion will be able to throw back around 2000 damage or more very easily. I really can't recommend using the CQC Power Shot against an Ion who is looking at you and are ready to catch your shots. Now against a particle wall itself, both fire modes really don't seem to do much to take it down. In fact, ever since that patch last month, Legion really does struggle to take down a particle wall by any means. This CQC Power Shot is exceptionally good at killing pilots and infantry, as long as you are within 30 meters. It will decimate any non-Titan or Reaper target that sits within the crosshair, and it will do so as soon as you fire. This is a great way to kill pilots who are out in the open with absolutely zero effort, or you can use it to farm multitudes of AI in attrition or bounty hunt. Unfortunately, because the CQC variant is hit scan, you can't swipe the crosshair to spread out the area of effect. When the shot fires, it is what is exactly inside your enlarged crosshair and nothing more that will take the damage. I also believe that the enemy has to be fully in the crosshair, unless of course they're a Titan, in which they've got a large hitbox, so it doesn't really matter. There are a few more things to note before we finish up. Unlike many of the other Titan's ordnance abilities, there is no way to cancel the power shot early once you have activated it, so once pressed you are committed to shooting. Sorry guys, there are no melee cancel tricks here. The knockback effect of the close range power shot will also halt momentum, so it is a great way to prevent Ronin from beating you with a sword core, and on some maps, it can push people off cliffs or down large halls, which is amazing fun when you pull it off. Finally, when your smart core is activated, your power shots will not be optimized to hit targets. Rather, they will fire normally, so the core has zero effect on power shot. Remember that and don't waste power shots thinking that your smart core will auto aim them for you, because it simply won't. This is a pretty powerful ability, and skilled pilots will be able to land shots and deal damage through many defensive abilities, and against multiple opponents, or even when they don't have line of sight. One final tip is to use a technique that involves ramping up your sensitivity and then activating the power shot while not facing an opponent, and then you swing the barrel around just as you release the shot. This means that your opponent will not have a chance to react to the hot glow that telegraphs that incoming shot, but it also means that you have to be great at aiming in under pressure in a mere moment. That's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, please subscribe, and we have more videos always on the way. Don't forget to comment if we missed anything or messed anything up. We are always looking for feedback and to improve our content on this channel. This was Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.